Hey there. Today, we're going to talk about a feeling that honestly almost everyone has, but we just don't really talk about it. It's that nagging sense that everyone, everywhere, is watching and judging you. So let's get into why that happens, and way more importantly, how you can start to break free from it. You know that feeling, right? You walk into a room, could be a party, a meeting, or even just the grocery store, and suddenly you feel this wave of self-consciousness. You're just positive that people are silently critiquing everything about you. But here's a wild thought. What if that intense pressure, that feeling of being under a microscope, what if it isn't actually coming from other people at all? What if it's a story that your own brain is creating? Well, this whole phenomenon actually has a name. So let's dive into what psychologists call the invisible spotlight. Because honestly, just understanding what it is, that's the very first step to taking away its power. Yep, it's called the spotlight effect. I want you to picture this. You're standing on a huge, dark stage. The only light is a single, super bright spotlight, and it's aimed directly at you, following your every single move. That is exactly what your brain does. It puts you right at the center of the stage and assumes everyone in the audience is glued to your performance. Let's make this super real. Say you spill a tiny drop of coffee on your shirt. In your mind, that stain is practically glowing, right? You're convinced that every single person you talk to is just staring at it. But the reality? Most people are so wrapped up in their own thoughts, their own day, they probably never even noticed it. And think about this. You say something a little awkward in a conversation. You might spend hours, replaying it in your head, cringing every time. But for everyone else in that conversation, it was just a blip. They probably forgot about it 3 seconds later. That right there is the spotlight effect in action. So why on earth do our brains do this? Is it some kind of flaw? Well, not exactly. It's actually a really old feature, like a piece of software that was designed to keep us safe a long, long time ago. Let's dig into why we're basically wired for this kind of worry. It all comes down to survival. Thousands of years ago, if you got kicked out of your tribe, that was it. Social rejection could literally be a death sentence. So our brains evolved this incredibly sensitive alarm system to scan for any and all social threats. The only problem is that ancient alarm is still running full blast today, and it's creating anxiety in situations that are not life-threatening at all. Now, the spotlight effect doesn't work alone. It's got a partner in crime called mind-reading bias. This is our brain's habit of just jumping to conclusions about what's going on in someone else's head. And thanks to that old survival instinct, we almost always assume the absolute worst. And this is what that mind reading sounds like in your head. Someone takes a while to text you back. Instead of thinking, oh, they're probably just busy, your brain immediately goes, they're mad at me. I must have said something wrong. You're basically writing a negative story with zero actual evidence. And here is where things can really get amplified. If you're already feeling a little insecure, that low self-confidence acts like a filter on everything. It just distorts every single interaction. You don't just think you said something awkward, you project that belief onto everyone else and you become convinced they think so too. Okay, so our brains are already kind of primed for all this anxiety. And then we went and invented social media, which has basically thrown gasoline on the fire. I mean, just think about how social media works. The whole system is built around likes, views, comments, evaluation. We are literally being trained day in and day out to perform and then just wait to be judged. It reinforces this feeling that we're always on display. And here's the kicker. This doesn't stay online. We train our brains to constantly seek validation and fear judgment on our phones. And then we carry that exact same mindset into our real-life interactions. The stage just follows us wherever we go. Okay, I know that all sounds a little intense, but here's the good news. You are not stuck with this feeling. This next part is all about the practical, actionable things you can do to turn off that invisible spotlight for good. And here it is. This might be the most liberating truth of all. While you're trapped under your own spotlight, totally agonizing over what other people think of you, guess what? They're busy being trapped under their own spotlight. They're not judging you. They're worried you're judging them. So this isn't about just trying to force confidence or fake it till you make it, because let's be real, that rarely works. The real change doesn't come from forcing a feeling. It comes from shifting your awareness and recognizing that your anxious thoughts, they aren't facts. So here's a simple 3-step method you can use anytime, anywhere. Step 1, just acknowledge the thought. Okay, I'm having the thought that I'm being judged right now. Step 2, question it. Ask yourself, what hard, concrete proof do I have that this is true? And I mean real proof. 9 times out of 10, there is none. And third, shift your focus. Actively move your attention away from yourself. And shifting your focus is a skill, something you can actually practice. So instead of worrying about how you're coming across, try getting curious about someone else. Ask them a question that needs more than a yes or no, and then really truly listen to their answer. Or just ground yourself by noticing one specific thing in the room. These little actions are what move the spotlight off of you. So let's just do a super quick recap. You feel judged because 1, your brain puts a spotlight on you. 2, this is driven by an ancient survival instinct. 3, you assume the worst through that mind-reading bias we talked about. And 4, the modern world, especially social media, just makes it all worse. If you only take one thing away from our time together today, please let it be this. You are not being watched nearly as much as you think you are. The vast majority of people are just too busy, too absorbed in their own lives and their own insecurities to be giving you much thought at all. And that's the key, isn't it? When you really, truly realize that you're not the center of everyone's universe, that's not a bad thing. It's the ultimate freedom. It gives you permission to just be yourself. So I'll just leave you with this one last question to think about. How often is that harsh judgment we feel coming from other people really just an echo of the harsh judgment we're putting on ourselves? Thanks so much for tuning in.